To the people of the City and County Palatine of Lancaster, greetings. Know ye that this day, November 27th, in the year of our Lord 2011, in the 60th year of the reign of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, Duke of Lancaster, is Lancashire Day. Know ye also and rejoice that by virtue of Her Majesty's County Palatine of Lancaster, the citizens of the 100 of Lonsdale, north and south of the Sands, Amounderness, Leyland, Blackburn, Salford and West Derby are forever entitled to style themselves Lancastrians.
Sunrise, 6 a.m. on a bright summer's morning. From Hampsfell, behind Grange-over-Sands, along the Lune Valley, to the magnificent peaks and fells of the Lake District, the stunning northern coastline of Morecambe Bay. What a beautiful and historic area to come and explore. The second largest bay in England, with an ever-changing coastline, guarded in the north by the stunning Lake District, hiding islands complete with a castle and a king, wildlife sanctuaries and miles of beautiful beaches, historic towns such as Ulverston and Dalton, industrial towns such as Barrow-in-Furness, and the genteel Victorian and Edwardian town of Grange-over-Sands, basking in the mild and balmy climate of Morecambe Bay's south-facing slopes. And it's got one of the best butchers and pie shops in the area. The Furness Peninsula and the Lakeland Fells were a very isolated but yet very beautiful area. The only way to get there was by travelling across the treacherous sands of Morecambe Bay from Hess Bank. The isolation was attractive to religious orders, and monks set up Connors Head Priory and Cartmel Priory, and one of Britain's most famous and wealthy Cistercian abbeys, Furness Abbey, established in the secluded Vale of the Deadly Nightshade near Barrow-in-Furness. The magnificent ruins are one of the most visited tourist attractions in the northwest. William Wordsworth visited, although he wasn't too happy with the fact that the railway line ran right through the grounds, built, as he says, by profane despoilers. In the area, monks discovered one of the most valuable natural resources, high-quality hematite, iron ore. Add that to the other natural resources of limestone, coal, charcoal, and you have the beginnings of the great iron, steel and shipbuilding industries that were to follow. Now linked together by the historic Furness Railway, enjoying some of the finest scenic views in England as it skirts the edge of Morecambe Bay and South Lakeland. It was the coming of the railways in 1857 which opened up this whole Lake District and Furness area to tourism, enabling industry to link isolated Barrow-in-Furness to the rest of Britain, but only by the designing and building of two very unique floating viaducts, taking the railways over the sands and the tidal estuaries of the rivers Kent and Leven. And also that's why today we have the preserved Lakeside and Haverthwaite Railway, still operating and linking to the aquarium of the lakes and the original Victorian steamers on Lake Windermere. The teal, tern or the swan are proud sights as they ply backwards and forwards throughout the magnificent Lakeland scenery. Near the current Haverthwaite Railway terminus at Backbarrow are the remains of the once world-renowned Dolly Blue Works, now housing the Lakeland Motor Museum with over 30,000 exhibits and the special Donald Campbell exhibition. Nearby is an early 18th century ironworks, Backbarrow, once associated with one of the most famous ironmasters in Britain, Mad John Wilkinson. He made the first iron boat, and with Abraham Darby, the world's first iron bridge in the Severn Valley. In Lindle is still to be seen this huge grave monument by the side of the road. He lived between Grange-over-Sands and Lindle at Castle Head, and when he died in 1808 he was buried in an iron coffin. The Industrial Revolution brought new industries to the Lake District, such as Stott Park Bobbin Mill near Newby Bridge, a superb working example and beautifully preserved site from the golden age of steam and king cotton. The industry demanded thousands of wooden bobbins for their looms, and the one thing the Lake District had in abundance was trees. Just 2 miles from Grange is the picturesque village of Fluteborough, famous for its fishermen. Local fishermen travel up to 6 miles out into the bay to harvest the famous Morecambe Bay shrimps and have them shelled and on sale in the markets the following day. For one weekend in July, thousands of people pour onto the nearby Cark airfield to enjoy one of the largest steam festivals in Britain, the Cumbria Steam Gathering. They come from all over Europe to see one of the finest displays of traction engines, fairground organs, vintage cars, motorbikes, plus 2 days of arena, marquee, tented displays and sideshows. Believe you me, it's big. It was here that I first met the local bay search and rescue team, and when I went out on exercise with them in their very specialised vehicles, it was only then that I began to appreciate how much we owe to them and the other rescue teams strategically placed around the whole bay. Cartmel, with its 12th century priory, is nearby. It went on to become one of the most important and influential ecclesiastical establishments in the north of England. This magnificent church, with its unusual offset tower and medieval tomb, escaped the desecration which many others fell foul of over the centuries. And it's today, after over 800 years, still providing its much-needed Christian service to the community. Cartmel is also famous for its Cartmel races, held on 6 or 7 days throughout the summer. The racecourse is part of the Holker Hall estate, home to Lord and Lady Cavendish. The Hall Gardens cover 23 acres and have continued to evolve over the centuries, and a walk around them during the summer is a pure delight. There's been a house on this site since the early 16th century. Although big changes have been made to the house over the years, it's still a magnificent stately home, as I found out when I was invited to visit at Christmas. The upgraded A590 road and railway bring us to the historic Saxon market town of Ulverston, once known as the capital of Furness. It's a town seemingly full of activity, with its festivals, markets and social activities. Its tiny streets and ginnels cry out to be explored. I was very lucky to be present when the townsfolk turned out in their thousands to honour their favourite son, Stan Laurel of Laurel and Hardy fame, who was born here. And you can't help but notice the white 100-foot-high Hode monument up on the hill behind the town, and which is visible from the other side of the bay. It has recently been beautifully restored and is dedicated to the son of the town, the famous Arctic explorer and cartographer Sir John Barrow. He was born in a tiny little cottage at Dragley Beck. The monument stands guard over England's shortest, widest and deepest canal, which was built to link the town to the sea. And close by is the home of Cumbria Glass, where you can watch the sparkling crystal being made before your very eyes. At Canal Foot, you're presented with the most magnificent view across the bay to Chapel Island, where monks from the nearby Conishead Priory used to provide spiritual refuge for the tired cross-bay travellers. I walked across there one day, a thoroughly enjoyable experience, in the company of Jack Layfield and 2 of his friends. Nearby is Swarthmoor Hall, once the home of George Fox, the founder of the Society of Friends, the Quakers. You must go and visit this largely Elizabethan house, with its mullioned windows, panelled rooms, period furniture and a beautiful oak staircase. Another must-see attraction is near Dalton, with its historic Pill Tower. It's the South Lakes Wild Animal Park, created by David Gill in 1993-94. It's a conservation park where the animals enjoy lots of space to roam and where the public can get really close. I'm not usually in favour of zoos, but the day I spent there took my breath away. If you travel down to the coast, you'll pass through beautiful and historic coastal villages, such as Great Urswick with its 7th century Twinney Cross, Bardsey, Baycliff and Aldingham, Birkrid Common with its 4,000-year-old stone circle and views stretching for miles across the bay. Another must-see attraction, the working and privately owned historic 18th century Gleaston watermill with its 18-foot water wheel. It's got a pink pig shop and an excellent tea room. If you travel to the once terminus of the Furness Railway at Roa Island, you'll be overlooking Peel Island. From the jetty at Roa Island, you can get the tiny ferryboat to Peel Island and explore the remains of the castle. It's even got its own king. Well, he is a publican as well. I can't say that I'm too impressed with Barrow in Furness, but another must-see place is the Dock Museum. It tells of the history of Barrow, has excellent displays and a staff who bend over backwards to be helpful. Finally, we come to the furthest point west, the magnificent expanse of Walney Island. It doesn't take long to drive around, but if you take time to explore, you'll find ancient settlements, 2 nature reserves, lovely beaches, and a beautiful tidal boat-bedecked river, separating it from Barrow. It's from here that countless ships, tankers and submarines have been launched from the old Vickers yards, now known as BAE submarines. It's also one of the windiest places I know. Time precludes showing any more of this truly beautiful place in which I live. But with much more beauty and heritage to see, you must admit that now is the time to visit the Lancashire coast north of the sands.